Hey folks, Will here again with Happily Ever Outdoors. I hope that this video finds you well. Today I wanted to talk to you about the original stainless steel backpacking stove from Emberlit. This is a pretty cool little product. I've had it for a while now. I've had a chance to test it out. It goes for about $44.99 right now. There's also a lightweight titanium version that's out there. I forget exactly how much it goes for. I'll put the price up on the screen, but it's a significant upcharge. But the stainless steel version is still pretty lightweight, and it works really well, and it's at a very reasonable price, right around $45. Now this MOLLE pouch that you see here ran me about $20. It's an add-on that you can get from their website. You can see that it's real sturdy material. This particular one I got is in like a coyote tan. I believe you can also get it in like a multicam type pattern. There might be one other color on that, and it does have the MOLLE attachment on the back, which is pretty cool. I like that. But we'll open that up, and so you guys can see this is the pouch that it does come with stock. So don't feel like you absolutely have to buy this. You know, it's not going to be loose pieces. It still comes in a bag. You can see it has like a window on the front, a plastic window that's got the instructions on it of how to put it together, which honestly you really don't need because it's super simple. But it is a pretty good, you know, heavy duty canvas type bag. Orange color's nice. If you drop it on the ground, I guess you'll see it even in the dark. But I do like having the additional pouch. I would recommend it just for the sake of protecting this a little bit more, and then also if you want to strap this to the outside of your bag, you would be good to go on that. So we'll open this up real quick and take a look just so you guys can see. It's very simple. What you're going to get in this kit is 4 side panels. Now one of them is going to be different. 3 sides are just going to have ventilation holes like this on the bottom. You can see they all have these interlocking tabs on the side, which is how you're going to put it together. And then you'll have one piece that is different. That's going to be your front piece. That's going to have a larger port that's going to allow you to kind of tend to that fire. If you want to put larger branches in there, you could just stick it in there, let it stick out, and then push it in as the fire burns down. You're also going to get a bottom plate that's going to go in there. That's what's going to keep your fire up off the ground. And you're also going to have 2 braces that are going to go on the top. These are going to go in like an X pattern, and they're going to tie the whole thing together, but also allow you to set like a small pot or a pan on top of the stove. As I mentioned a second ago, assembly of the stove is really fast and easy, so I'm just going to demonstrate that for you real quick. And that's all there is to it. Now I don't know if I followed the exact, you know, manufacturer's directions as far as the order of putting this whole thing together, but it's pretty hard to mess it up. You can see the bottom plate just has 3 tabs. It's got tabs on 3 sides, 1, 2, 3. The front side with the opening does not have a tab there. I guess that's for the ease of allowing you to pull the whole thing apart. You can see these tabs on the sides, they just interlock. They're facing opposite directions. You just slide them together, and then your 2 cross braces on top. There's a notch cut in there so you can stick those together, and you pop that into the corners. And that's it. That's all there is to it. And this stove, given the way it's designed, is really sturdy. And it's a good size in my opinion, without being too big or too small. They do make a smaller version of this stove, by the way, that came out called their Fire Ant. You can check that out on their website. I have not tested that myself personally, but I do plan to get one in the future. So if this looks a little bigger than what you want, then you can check this out. But in my mind, this is a great size for camping, hiking, backpacking, to go into a bug out bag, anything like that. So alright guys, so let's check this thing out real quick. We will go ahead and stoke this up and see what it takes to get a fire going inside this guy. Now if you'd like, while you get your fire going, sometimes I'll actually take that top piece out there just to make it a little easier to get your tinder and stuff set, but it's up to you. Now, one of the things that I do like about the design of this stove is the fact that you can see these notches that are cut into the top going all the way around. So if you did have some little bit longer sticks that you wanted to stand in there, like what I'm doing, you can kind of lean them into that notch, and it'll still give you space that you can get your pot or your pan situated on there. As long as you don't go all the way around the stove, then you'll block up all the space that you need. But that is nice, that small little design feature they added. And as I mentioned earlier, you do have this large port in the front, so if you have larger sticks of wood that you can't fit inside the stove otherwise, you can just slide them in there, and as they burn down, you can just keep pushing them up inside the stove. Some of the really nice things about the design of this stove is the fact that they put just the right amount of ventilation. So this thing is going to breathe well, but at the same time you can see there's large surface areas that are enclosed, so that's going to protect it from the wind. So it's going to be very, very easy for you to get a small contained fire going very quickly, even if the weather conditions aren't the best, and it's going to kind of shield it. And the best thing about that is that it's going to really control and direct that heat up to your cooking surface. So it's going to be very, very efficient. If you imagine comparing this to cooking food on an open fire, it's just crazy how efficient it is. So if you have limited materials, that's going to make this stove very, very valuable to you. Also, if you're in an area where there's a burn ban, or it's just dry, it's just not safe or a good idea to have an open campfire, this will allow you to still use biofuels that you can pick up while you're out on the trail, along with tinders and things like that you bring with you, but you don't have to carry heavy fuel canisters, anything like that you might with other systems. And when you're ready to head out, you just break it down, put it back in your bag, and you're good to go. You don't have empty canisters, things like that to haul out with you either. So very, very efficient and practical design. Now, one of the things that you do need to keep in mind with this stove is that you don't go crazy and overstoke it, because even though it does have very good construction, and it's all stainless steel, by the way, made in the USA, which is great, but if you get this thing way too hot, it will warp over time. Some of that's just going to kind of naturally happen, but if you're going crazy and building it up way too big, way too hot inside there, you're going to speed up that process. The other thing is, it's just going to get so hot that you're going to be burning up your pans and making a big mess, getting them all charcoaled up and nasty, and it doesn't make sense. So just keep that in mind, get a feel for it. You'll notice that you'll get a very, very hot contained bed of coals very, very quickly. I mean, much quicker than I expected. So if you'll just allow it a little time, kind of burn down to that point where you've got that nice hot bed of coals, and just add a few smaller sticks and things every now and then, you'll be good to go. Okay folks, so now that we've got that going, I'm just going to do a really quick, simple, easy demonstration for you, and that's going to be boiling water. What you see right here is actually the Solo Cook Kit from Ultimate Survival Technologies. This is one I like to carry. I picked up working as a ambassador for Ultimate Survival Technologies, and it's very affordable, readily available at retailers like Walmart and the like. But of course, any small cook kit similar to this is going to work well with this type of stove. So what I'm going to do is go ahead and open this thing up, and we'll just fill this up with water. And this is going to be really cold water because this actually has ice in there and stuff. This is what I've been drinking off of. But we'll kind of fill it up. We don't need to go all the way. And I am going to want to put a lid on this. Bear in mind, you know, one, I guess, disadvantage or just one fact of, you know, using wood fuel as opposed to some kind of a gas is that you're going to have ashes and things like that. So keep that in mind, especially like as I mentioned earlier, if you have it overstocked with fire or with wood and it's spitting a lot of ash and everything, that's all going to try to get in your water. So a lid is always a good bet. Be mindful of if you have a cook kit like this with silicone handles, they are heat resistant, but they're not heat proof. So try not to let open flames roll up on those handles. And that's where, as I said before, if you don't go too crazy and stoke the fire up too high, you won't have really, really tall flames licking up the same sides of your pot. I like the fact that this has a fairly wide base as far as if you're using like a hiking type cook kit. You could even theoretically use, you know, a larger size pan on there as long as you kept it balanced right and were mindful of it. You probably would have to move it around a little bit, you know, to keep the heat evenly. But you can tell by the size of it, it is definitely designed for a cook kit about this size or maybe a little bit larger. This is more of a like a one-person type cook kit, so I could see like a two-person backpacking type cook kit working very, very well with this stove. Alright guys, so we'll just give this a couple of minutes and we should have some boiling water. By the way, you don't absolutely have to use just natural wood products in this stove. You could also use things like fuel cubes, or, you know, I've even heard of people doing things like, you know, cooking with a candle if you rigged it up right. It gives you plenty of options. I mean, essentially it's a stainless steel box, so it's not too limiting as far as that's concerned. Now, one thing to keep in mind, you probably saw me use at the beginning of this video, I used some fatwood shavings, some fatwood pieces to get this fire going, just because it does make it a lot easier. But if you do use things like fatwood heavily, you know, I would imagine over a period of time you're going to get a lot of buildup from that sap and stuff, and it'll kind of get all gunked up, and I don't know how easy it would be to clean that. So if that's a concern to you, that's something to keep in mind. I probably wouldn't stuff whole, you know, large fatwood sticks or chunks in this thing, but, you know, using a little bit for tinder and stuff like that, it's not going to hurt it. Alright, I think I hear it boiling underneath there. Yep, look at that. We've got a really good, steady, strong, rolling boil there. So if you're using this for like water purification purposes, it would be awesome for that. Also, if you're like a lot of people where you cook mostly, you know, hiking meals, dehydrated meals, that kind of thing, that's probably what you're primarily going to use this for, is boiling water. However, again, with a small pan, it would work just fine for cooking any kind of food you wanted to cook on there. To be perfectly honest, guys, this Emberlit camp stove is probably about the best 60 bucks I've spent in a very long time, honestly. And a really, really awesome product. I'm a huge fan of the fact that it's made in the USA. I love the design. It's so simple, yet so ingenious. It's exactly everything it needs to be and nothing more. I think the add-on pouch, like I mentioned earlier, is worth the money, well worth the money. But overall, just a really, really awesome product. It does exactly what it's advertised to do. It's super well built, easy to put together, easy to take apart. I know it's going to last for a very, very long time out in the trail. I mean, and it folds up so tiny, so small, and you just stick it in your bag and you're good to go. So this guy is going to be just perfect for hiking, backpacking, maybe to go in your bug out or your get home bag, your emergency kit at the house. Well worth the money. One of the best stoves that I have ever seen at this price point. Alright folks, this concludes our review of the Emberlit Original Stainless Steel Camp Stove. Feel free to leave your comments and questions below, and make sure you subscribe to our channel. Thanks for watching.